last video, and this will be a short one. We only have one last thing we want to do. Now, in these examples, we're given a function that is already made of lots of parts, and we want to decompose it. So basically, like, cut it up into a bunch of different pieces and then show how those pieces all fit together, kind of like a puzzle. So I'll give you an example with f. If I look at f, I can see that inside f of x, I have, I'm going to call it g of x, equals 3x minus 1. That is the function that is inside those absolute values. Then I have to ask myself, okay, so what is happening outside of that function? What is being done to that function? And I can see that what's happening to that function is an absolute value. We are taking the absolute value of this function. So I'm going to call that h of x and say that is the absolute value of x. So now, if I want to turn this into function composition, I have g of x on the inside and then h of x on the outside. And if I check this using what we've done, I would do h of x, which is this equation, with my big parentheses 4x, and then g of x is what I would plug in. And there we go, I have the equation I started with. So this would be the function composition of plugging these two together to get this final equation. So we can do the same thing with b, except this time we're going to actually have 3 levels. So I'm going to think the most inside that's going on here is this x squared. So the inside function I have, I'm going to call it, let's call it f of x, is my x squared. That's that inside one. And now I can go in levels. The middle level, what is being done to the x squared? Well, this x squared has that x squared, and then what's happening is we are adding 1. We're taking that x squared and we're adding 1 to it. That's the next level that is happening here. The x squared and we're adding 1. So I'm going to call this h of x is going to be x plus 1. I'm taking my something and I'm adding 1 to it. Now I can do my outside function. So I can say, okay, what's happening to this x squared plus 1? Well, it's 2 over the x squared plus 1. That's what's going on here. 2 over x squared plus 1. So let's call that one j of x, where that is 2 over whatever is happening, 2 over x. So if these are my 3 functions defined, I have f of x, that's on the inside, x squared, and I'm plugging x squared into h of x next. So plugging f into my x plus 1, that gives me x squared plus 1. And finally, I'm plugging all of that into my j of x, so plugging my x squared plus 1 into this to get 2 over x squared plus 1. So that is my answer. That is all the functions composed together. And that is all we have for lesson 1.4. Hooray! You are finally done.